Respected presenters, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, subject of my presentation is the failure of Silicon Valley Bank different from previous bank failures. Silicon Valley Bank was closed by regulatory authorities in the USA on March 10, 2023 upon a bank run on the bank's deposits on March 9. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation of the USA announced that it took control of the deposits of the bank. This failure is recorded as the second biggest bank failure in the USA in history, and since the global financial crisis in 2001. The failure of Silicon Valley Bank was unexpected, considering that it had been recognized by Forbes magazine as one of America's best banks in 2022. Additionally, the bank had a favorable rating of A from Moody's, indicating a low credit risk. The failure of SVB cannot be attributed to one single factor, but rather a combination of factors. The failure of SVB can be attributed to a combination of the following factors: the Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes, maturity mismatch, concentration of lending, lack of diversification, inadequate risk management strategies, and insufficient regulatory monitoring for banks. While there are similarities and differences between SVB's failure and previous bank failures in the USA, a notable difference is that SVB's investment in what is considered one of the most secure investment tools, USA T-bills, didn't protect the bank from failure. This case highlights the importance of diversification, robust risk management strategies, and effective supervision in the banking industry. Silicon Valley Bank was closed by regulatory authorities in the USA following a bank run on the bank's deposits. A bank run is a phenomenon in which a large number of depositors suddenly withdraw their funds from a bank due to concerns about its solvency or stability, thereby creating a liquidity crisis and potentially leading to the bank's failure. The Diamond-Dybvig model is a theoretical framework that helps explain the causes, consequences, and dynamics of bank runs. According to Diamond-Dybvig, a bank run occurs when depositors have the option to either withdraw their funds immediately or leave them in the bank for a longer period, are uncertain about the true state of the bank's financial health. If a large number of depositors simultaneously decide to withdraw their funds, it can trigger a self-fulfilling prophecy where other depositors also become anxious and start withdrawing their funds, leading to a chain reaction of withdrawals and ultimately causing the bank to fail. The Diamond-Dybvig model proposes that banks can avoid runs by offering depositors a form of insurance against liquidity risk, such as deposit insurance or the ability to withdraw funds on demand. However, full insurance on deposits can create moral hazard and adverse selection problems where depositors and banks take on more risk than they otherwise would, knowing that they are protected by insurance. This can lead to banks taking on excessive risk and depositors not observing the health of the banks they deposit, which in turn can lead to the failure of the banks. Thus, the model suggests partial insurance on the deposits. The FDIC provides insurance for bank deposits of up to $250,000 USD per depositor per bank for each account category. This means that if someone had $250,000 USD or less in a Silicon Valley Bank account, she or he would be fully insured and receive all of his/her money back in case of bank failure. However, many accounts in Silicon Valley Bank have deposits exceeding $250,000 USD, which means that most of the funds were not fully insured. In such cases, account holders would risk losing any amount above the insurance threshold. Initially, the authorities announced that account holders would lose any money above the deposit insurance threshold. However, this announcement caused panic among depositors, leading to a run on regional banks, which ultimately resulted in the failure of Signature Bank and Silvergate Capital Bank. After the failure of three banks, on March 12, the Federal Reserve announced its decision to invoke a systemic risk exception, which means that all depositors, including those with uninsured funds, would be fully compensated. Federal regulators took the decision to provide full insurance and protection to all depositors and their balances at Silicon Valley Bank due to the fear of contagion, which refers to potential impact of the bank's collapse on the overall economy. The repercussions of the bank's failure were not limited to Silicon Valley Bank alone, as other banks also experienced a decline in their stock prices. The high-profile failure of Silicon Valley Bank could have undermined consumer confidence in the banking system, exacerbating the issue of depositors rushing to withdraw funds from banks that may not have sufficient funds to cover them. This risk of contagion could have far-reaching effects on not just banks but also the broader economy as a whole. Thank you very much for your kind listening.